Good morning and welcome. This is the Clint Womack Real Estate and Finance Show on 860 AM, Utah's Big Talker. Thank you so much for tuning in to our new time. We're at 10 a.m. now every Saturday and Sunday morning on Utah's Big Talker, 860 AM. If you haven't liked us yet on Facebook, please go to our Facebook page and like us. It's facebook.com/Womack Radio. You can also visit us on our radio website. It's womackradio.com. This is the Clint Womack Real Estate and Finance Show. We are committed to be your local advocates for real estate and finance. We've got a special show planned for you today about our overall health. Not just our financial health, but our spiritual, mental, and physical health as well, because that all plays a part of the complete us and the complete person. If you missed our show last week, we had Matt Gleason from National Property Inspections, a local home inspector, and we had Jeff Scobie, an estate planner. Again, we are committed to bringing you the timely truths for real estate and finance, and we're so grateful that you've tuned into our show today. Our first guest on the show today is Donald Harline. He's a physician, and it's so great to have him on the show. Like I said, our theme for today is overall health, not just financial health, but mental, physical, spiritual, our overall health. Donald, it's so great to have you on the show today. Welcome.
Thank you, Clint. It's a pleasure to be here.
Donald, tell me a little bit about yourself.
I'm a family practice physician down in Orem, Utah. I grew up in Fresno, California. My wife and I are about to celebrate 27 years of marriage. We have 4 kids. I went to BYU and then to Loma Linda Medical School down in Southern California. And then for residency, I went to Orlando, Florida for my training. And then after that, I owed the Air Force 4 years, so I was at Hill Air Force Base. And then I kind of just settled in Orem, Utah.
Oh, a veteran.
That's right.
We love our vets and just appreciate all that you guys do for our country and the service that you've done. So how does Utah compare to Southern California?
Utah has it's less crowded here. There seems to be a lot more mountainous activities to do here compared to California, but I really like it's a little bit slower pace here. People are great here. I think I enjoyed both places about the same, but Utah's a lot cheaper to live.
Yeah, so. For sure. My wife and I are in the same boat. I grew up in San Diego, and my wife grew up in Orange County, and we both love California. Both of our families are still there. But when we were looking to buy a house, it made a little more sense to come to Utah for cost of living and just traffic and everything else. So tell me about what you do. You're a physician?
Yes, I'm a family practice physician. I do a little of everything. A lot of my practice now is turning to wellness, and I also do some addiction medicine. And I enjoy helping out that population of people who have gotten themselves into trouble. Yeah, I do a little bit of everything.
Where's your office located?
Down in Orem, Utah. I've been there about 14 years.
And is that your own practice, or do you work for a different company?
Yes, I work as an independent physician. Some people tell me that that's not going to be something that's very prevalent in the future. Where doctors are going to have to start teaming up or working as employees. Yeah,
trying to get rid of the little guy. We were talking a little bit about Obamacare, and we'll go into that a little bit more as we continue our conversation. But I really value people that can go out on their own, can survive on their own, and I don't know, it just seems like you're more committed to the client base and making your practice work, and maybe there's a little bit more devotion to your patients.
Yes, I think anyone who is trying to get into medicine as a career, it really is a time to be doing it for the right reasons and to get out there and help people and not try to make a fortune or something like that.
I was actually thinking about going into medical school before I got into real estate and finance. And, I think my wife's kind of grateful that I didn't. It's a long road. There's potential for a lot of student debt. And I think, like you said, you have to be really committed to the patients and the experience, and not just planning on getting rich from being a doctor.
That's right.
This is the Clint Womack Real Estate and Finance Show. We're talking here with Donald Harline, a physician out of Orem, overall health and wellness, family physician. If you want to get in touch with Donald Harline, please text us. Text the word health to 801-674-9995, or give us a call at that same number, 801-674-9995, and we'll get you in touch with Donald Harline. For those of you that don't know, I'm a local business owner as well. I own a local real estate and mortgage company, Vintage Lending and Realty. And I started this radio show as a way to bring professionals together and offer you the opportunity to kind of take advantage of our team of professionals that we put together and improve your overall health and wellness. Thank you so much for tuning in this morning. We've got to take a break, but stay with us. This is the Clint Womack Real Estate and Finance Show on 860 AM, Utah's Big Talker.
Fire on the mountain, she said. Well, I'm not the one who burned it down.
Welcome back. This is the Clint Womack Real Estate and Finance Show on 860 AM, Utah's Big Talker. We've got Donald Harline here with us, a local physician out of Orem. We've been talking, the theme of our show today is overall health and wellness, and Donald works in that field. He works with addiction recovery and just overall health and wellness for mental, physical, and even spiritual wellness. Let's go a little bit into that. Tell me, you said you wanted to talk a little bit about spiritual and mental and physical. How do all those combine together, and how do you incorporate those into your practice?
As I think about what is one of the greatest things that a person can have, is it money? Is it family? Is it friends? It all boils down to, do I have good health? And as I've started to get older, I'm 49 now, I started to feel the effects of aging. And so I started to look to different things that I could do to not feel like I was getting old. My joints were hurting. I was gaining weight. I was tired all the time. And so that's kind of what put me into this method of practice is the wellness. And so I get a great satisfaction by helping people feel like they're getting healthy again. That's my greatest thing. So it goes back to being physically fit. And so a lot of people, they want a pill that will get them to weight loss, but there's no magic pill.
I was still looking for that magic pill.
A person needs to get into that gym and exercise and work that body, and it just feels so incredible when that happens. So that's physical fitness, and then that along with that is nutrition. And the way our diets have been, it's such a change from when I was growing up. We used to have vegetables at every meal, and it was this balanced meal. And now, as I've gotten older and I take my kids out to McDonald's and it's just nothing but junk food.
Wait, a doctor taking his kid to McDonald's. Oh, man.
So I don't do that anymore. But everybody likes that. I love the taste of that Big Mac.
I guess I can't argue too much. I took my little son and daughter to McDonald's yesterday, and while I was there, I was reading an article about Coca-Cola, how they're actually removing brominated vegetable oil from their drink, but they're kind of replacing it with some other funky chemicals. So they're trying to be healthy, but then they're replacing it with other man-made chemicals that, I don't know, just soda in general I don't think is good for your overall health.
I read that article, and as I was watching American Idol the other night, and Jennifer Lopez has this big glass of Coca-Cola in front of her. I guarantee you she's not drinking Coca-Cola. And, I haven't touched a soft drink in a long time. So we put these into our bodies, and it's just, there's a lot of preservatives and things like that. And so there's a big movement. There's gluten-free diets now. There's, organic diets and things like that. So we need to just eat healthy. And sometimes a person needs coaching with that. And there's various websites that'll do that and phone apps. So eating healthy is good, working out. And then as we move into the, mental aspect, we could ask ourselves, are we mentally fit? Are we anxious all the time? Are we negative in our, thinking? And so it comes down to attitude. And so a lot of people, will come in and, my day is just shot. And so I can't wait till Friday. And I can't wait well, what about if we just say, what am I going to do right now that will just make a wonderful day? And so as I come to this radio show, and I kind of took a day off today to come do this, I'm just excited to just be here and share this passion that I have for helping people get healthy.
It's so great to have you here. And just going along with our theme today is overall wellness. If you're feeling lethargic, or you're feeling low energy and you haven't done it, you're not eating well, it all translates into your financial health, your ability to work, and your ability to think clearly and quickly and just be upbeat. It all carries over. So it's all connected. It's all a balancing act of eating right and getting exercise, and then you're able to work more efficiently, be more productive, make better financial decisions. It's all connected. So I think that's such an important topic.
Absolutely. And then in the spiritual realm, we live in a predominant, Mormon community. We've got a richness of other religions here, and we've got people who are frankly atheists that don't believe in God, but, it's one of those things where we're all in this human race together, and what can we learn from somebody else that can fortify and enrich our lives? So I always try to do a little bit of meditation every day. I try to read some motivational material, and I try to read some spiritual works from leaders in that field.
Yeah, I mean, the mental and the spiritual aspects go hand in hand too, whether you're reading a classic work or just working on mental clarity or meditation. I think those are so important, like we talked about, the balancing act of overall wellness. I'm your host, Clint Womack. This is the Clint Womack Real Estate and Finance Show on 860 AM. We've got Donald Harline here with us. If you want to get in touch with Donald or have any questions about overall wellness, please give us a call at 801-674-9995 or text the word wellness to 801-674-9995. Donald, I wanted to talk a little bit about Obamacare, since that has some big financial implications. It's newly rolled out, a little bit of a tumultuous rollout. What are some of the effects that you've already seen in your practice from Obamacare?
One of the things that happens with Obamacare is when people have a higher deductible now, I will sometimes ask them, what's your deductible? And they'll say, my deductible is $25. Well, it's obvious that they're not realizing what a deductible is. A deductible is usually anywhere from $0 to up to $12,000 now. And so that's a huge impact. So what that means is your insurance isn't going to start paying until you have paid up to that amount. So if it's a $5,000 deductible, you got to spend $5,000 before the insurance even kicks in. So higher deductibles is a problem. And then there's the copays that have always been around, and usually that's about a $25 copay. So when a person is really healthy and they may want to do a premium that does have a higher deductible, and to the point where, what do I want to say here? They have a higher deductible because they know they're probably not going to go to the doctor.
Yeah, I know. Like in my case, we're a young family. We have 3 kids. I own my own company, so I pay for my own insurance. It's not like company provided. I think I spend about $500 a month, and I want to say per person, our deductible is maybe around $7,500, and then maybe the max out of pocket that our whole family could pay in 1 year would be about $13,000. But I talked to my insurance agent, and she was saying that if I were to switch to Obamacare now, my monthly premium would go up like 60 or 70%. So instead of paying $500 a month, I'd be paying close to $800 a month for the exact same coverage. So for me, for someone that makes over, I think the cutoff's 90,000 for some of the grants or things that you can get to lower your premium. For someone that makes over 90,000 or 100,000, I think your premiums are going to be going up. So that's one area that Obamacare will affect, and kind of going along with what you said with the increased deductibles.
So what it ends up being is a lot of people aren't going to reach that $7,500 deductible, and so it's literally the same as paying cash when you go to see the physician. So that's going to be a big change for a lot of people. It is the number one question I ask. People ask me is, how has Obamacare affected your practice? So as I talk to other physicians, we are all concerned about getting a lower pay for the same amount of work that we've been doing. So we all come up with our strategy. I'm going to see more patients, or I'm going to do this or that. I've started branching out into some of the network marketing companies. So I went with a company that does supplements, and that's been a big help to my practice, where I can offer things that maybe are not so toxic to the body with some of the medications that we prescribe. And so it's been extremely helpful.
What are some of the supplements that you offer?
The company that I went with is called TrueStar. And so always in my practice, I've tried to look for things that will help people, even if it's more of a natural remedy. And I like to merge the natural remedies with the medical practice. And so when I started developing fatigue and joint pain and weight gain, I got introduced to this company called TrueStar. And they are a company that's based out of Canada, and they came to Utah, and they wanted to make it a network marketing company. So I've been involved with them, and it's been a great blessing. They have about 35 different products. So some of it is protein powder. They have an energy drink that's really healthy, works great and lasts a long time. They got a weight loss product. And the key to look for anyone who's looking at supplements is that product a pharmaceutical grade? So what that means is the milligrams that it says is in there is actually in there. So I think I saw a thing on 60 Minutes where some of the products that you might get at a natural remedy store may not be pharmaceutical grade, and they may not contain the ingredients that it actually says.
On a side note, are you an MD or a DO?
I'm an MD.
Because it seems like some of the things your approach is almost more DO, osteopathic, holistic approach. Have you seen other MDs kind of adopting some more natural osteopathic or holistic approaches like that?
There is a range of people. Some of the doctors will not touch naturopathic cures and remedies just because it hasn't gone through a rigorous study. A lot of times in my own experience, I can tell that product is working well for me. So I will recommend that to my patients. And then there's other doctors who they have their MD degree and they went all the way to the other way, and they're doing IV vitamin therapy and things like that. And it's a cure-all for everything in their opinion. And so I just, I like to work with patients. I found that this one works pretty well. For example, allergy season right now is pretty bad for a lot of people. They try the typical medications for that, and then it's not working. And so I actually have a chiropractor friend in Kansas City that has a natural remedy, and I've been handing that out to people. Hey, try this. If it doesn't work, it's not going to hurt you. If it helps, that's great.
What is it, out of curiosity?
That one would be 3 parts apple cider vinegar with 1 part honey, and you mix in a slice of lemon, and about a half a cup of water, and you swish that around.
Very nice.
So it might work for a lot of people. That it's probably not strong enough for that really super high allergy person.
Now, you work with some addiction and addiction recovery. What are some of the tactics and things that you do to help people out of addiction?
There's a medication called Suboxone, so I have my Suboxone certificate. There's a regulation with that one where a doctor can only see 100 patients per month with that medication. But that has helped a lot for people who maybe they're not so strong on their addiction that they need inpatient therapy, but they can do it as an outpatient, and it's quite helpful for people. And I've helped a lot of people get off of their heroin or narcotic pills that they've been getting off the street, and so that's helpful. And one of the stories that I have happened within the last month, and I asked a girl who's been fighting off her addiction. You know how you go to an AA meeting or a Narcotics Anonymous meeting, and there's a person that stands up there and says, "My life was turned around because of this." And I asked her, I said, "What would your life look like to have your life change or be turned around?" And it was like this moment for her. She just, "Wow, that was just so great, Dr. Harline. I just love that you said that." And so we came up with it, and it was just something that she needed to hear. And so I love that aspect of it, where maybe I can counsel people to look at how their life can be just so much better and not having to rely on an addiction.
Dr. Harline, it's been such a pleasure to have you on the show today. This is the Clint Womack Real Estate and Finance Show on 860 AM. We're your local advocates. We're committed to your overall wellness. If you have any questions or you'd like to get in touch with Dr. Harline, please call us at 801-674-9995. This is the Clint Womack Real Estate and Finance Show on 860 AM, Utah's Big Talker.
Fire on the mountain, she said.
Welcome back to the Clint Womack Real Estate and Finance Show. I'm your host, Clint Womack. This is Utah's Big Talker on 860 AM. We were just speaking with Donald Harline, a physician out of Orem, about just overall wellness. And that's the theme of our show today is how all aspects of your life are so important and they all tie together, and finding a balance on all aspects of your life is critical to overall wellness. To go a different direction, we're going to go, we have Jon Hatch on the show. He is a local financial planner, and I highly trust Jon. I've worked with him in the past, and I know he does good work. Jon, it's great to have you on the show. Welcome.
Thanks, Clint. It's great to be with you again.
Yeah. How you been?
I've been great. How about you?
Good to hear. Things have been good.
I heard you're a new father again.
Yeah, little baby girl, baby Sophie, born Saturday the 26th. So father of 3, 1 boy, 2 girls. Got my hands full. My state president joked around that I'm switching from man to man to zone defense now, since we're outnumbered. So we got to keep that in mind as we're trying to rein all 3 of them in.
Well, I know what you mean. I've got 3 boys, so it's a little 2-on-2 basketball, but it's it's not so fair when me and the 10-year-old are teaming up on the 4 and 3-year-old boys. But one day it'll even out.
Yeah, there's a little gap in there, 10 to 4. Took a little break in between.
And can't forget about my 8-year-old daughter.
Okay.
She's into more gymnastics and other girly stuff. So
4 kids.
But she'd love to get out there and hit a baseball. That's one of her favorite things. Yep, 4 kids.
Very cool. Well, great to have you on the show. Tell me a little bit about what you do.
Well, I have been in Salt Lake City my whole life. Took one of those little 2-year breaks to San Diego. But when I got back from San Diego, I met my father at the airport, and he said, "Are you ready to come to work in the morning?" And I said, "Sure." And I've been there ever since, other than a University of Utah degree and a financial planning course I took. I've been working with my father in the insurance and financial planning industry ever since 2000. Well, technically ever since I was a kid. I pulled out a 6th grade report when it said, "What do you want to do when you grow up?" And I wrote down, "I want to sell insurance with my dad." Believe it or not, it's framed in my office. So.
Oh, that's awesome.
So I'm one of those guys that actually did want to do this ever since he was a kid. But the other thing I wanted to do was play for the Utah Jazz, and that didn't work out.
Oh, man.
Had to settle for insurance.
Hey, well, you can work on your kids. You've got 3 boys that got a chance.
Absolutely.
And there's always a WNBA, too, for your daughter. So, tell me about all your designations and licenses that you have for insurance and financial planning.
Well, there's quite a lot of us in the city and state that are licensed to sell insurance or provide investments. And there's quite a training process to figure out which career is going to suit you best, whether it's purely insurance, more on the investment side, or a combination of both, like what I do. So, for example, you have your series licenses that allow you to sell securities, Series 6, 7, 26, 63, 65, 66. I mean, the list goes on and on. But primarily, the advisors out there that provide investment advice need the Series 65 license, which is a fee-based license. So I can actually sit down with you, go over an investment plan, and we can work an hourly fee basis like an attorney or a CPA would, and just review your portfolio or your budget and however you would like to structure the meeting. Or other advisors, if they're insurance-based or securities-based, there's typically a commission involved at the sale of an investment or a product. And whatever license you have determines what kind of business you're doing with your advisor. So one of the first questions to ask your advisor is, what licenses do you have? And that kind of gives you an idea of where you're headed with that individual.
For your main business, are you more commission-based, or I guess are you more insurance-based or more securities-based?
Well, I would have to say that it's quite an equal combination, because everything depends on the client that's coming through the door to see you. And, you know, there's several different ways that you can advise a client. So, but if there is an insurance policy that you're talking about, there's typically an insurance commission. And then if there's an investment, there can be investment commissions or investment fees. I do have somewhat of a limit what I'm allowed to discuss on the radio, being that this is a public forum, from my broker dealer, which is Lincoln Financial Securities. But I'd be happy
to get you in trouble
I'd
here.
be happy to take an individual through the licensure and what I have and what I can do. But yeah, thank you. Compliance runs my life. Let's just say that. They look at my bank account every 3 months, and you know, I don't have a lot of freedom to express myself with free speech, but without a nice little fine. So
yeah, you don't like those fines, especially from those big entities with all those different initials out there.
Well, they're going to be reading this broadcast, so I love working for Lincoln Financial Securities. You guys are a great company, and let's keep things moving.
Very nice.
Just kidding.
Got to stay on their good side. So we've done work in the past. We've done a little bit of insurance business together. Tell me what's kind of and we talk about this every week. This is the theme of this show, is being able to bring a professional in, and we want our listeners to be able to meet with someone that can kind of custom fit to their situation.
Sure.
Do you recommend life insurance for all your clients, or only in particular cases? What are the things for life insurance that you look for?
Well, to set the stage for what I recommend, and when I'm sitting down with somebody, I believe everybody has to have a strong financial foundation laid in their life. And we divide this up into thirds. And the first third, I believe, is properly structured life insurance. And the foundation is, if you can look at it in construction terms, the financial design that once laid and once secured, you can build wealth upon. And if wealth is built upon a foundation of toothpicks and marshmallows, like from science class, if you have enough wealth that you're building upon that, or if some problem hits and knocks your foundation loose, the house of wealth is going to come crashing down. For instance, I met with somebody who didn't want to purchase life insurance, thought that they were completely self-insured with their assets, and they had quite a bit that they had inherited and they had also earned. But this individual did not also look at the other third that I recommend, which is disability insurance. The final third is an emergency fund to last you 3 to 6 months. Well, if you have a substantial amount of wealth, you have your emergency fund set up. But this individual suffered a severe disability and was no longer able to. We talked about health insurance originally. He had to go get his own health insurance plan, had to continue paying a mortgage that he had, and his very expensive lifestyle was basically draining his wealth. Now, you can imagine, and he unfortunately eventually passed away from the events of his disability. But if you can imagine not having any life insurance, having 5 children, having a substantial income that's not insured for disability, and have all this wealth, it becomes meaningless because it was gone after about 4 years. And his family is now left without life insurance or any assets, and she's had to remarry just to, obviously for companionship and those reasons, but for the ability to have group benefits, health insurance, a retirement plan, and thank goodness she married a good guy. Now, that doesn't work out for everybody, but I do believe that this third mindset of having your foundation laid securely can protect you against the worst things happening.
Yeah, and it's also, if you're sick or about to die, it's too late to get life insurance. And that's why I think it's so important for each of you out there to call Jon Hatch and to set up an appointment, because life insurance is one of those things that lays the foundation. It's also a way to leverage. You're kind of leveraging the insurance company's money. Maybe the worst doesn't happen, but if it does, you're protected for it.
We call that a transfer of risk. You take it off of your shoulders and you transfer it to the insurance company.
Yeah, for a premium, and I'm sure you look with each of your clients to see what they can afford and recommend something based on their finances.
One of the great things about today's life insurance industry, there's so many financially strong companies out there. We have some great companies and agencies here in town. I'm what you call an independent insurance agent, so I can deal with nearly 98% of the insurance companies that don't require you just to work with them. But if you go with the big companies in town that you probably have someone on your street or your neighborhood that, I work for XYZ company or XYZ company, you're going to get a pretty good rate on a policy if you look for term insurance with just about anybody. But it is important to know that if you're very price sensitive, you can get the cheapest company with anybody who's an independent advisor. You don't just have to go with one company. If somebody says, I work for, your auto insurance company, we can also sell you life insurance. That rate sometimes may not be as good as going with an independent rate. You hear from these national insurance companies a lot about, we call us, we have the top rates, for anybody in any situation. And most independent insurance agents can do exactly the same thing.
This is the Clint Womack Real Estate and Finance Show on 860 AM, Utah's Big Talker. We're talking here with Jon Hatch about financial planning, about 3 solid pillars of a great foundation for financial success. And that's one of the reasons why I went with Jon on some of my life insurance needs. I like the idea of brokering. I'm a broker myself for both real estate and mortgage. As a mortgage broker, I'm approved with over 40 banks. And we don't always use each of those 40 banks, but sometimes there's that one bank and only one of those 40 banks that can do the deal or get it done for each of the different characteristics. So it's so important to have that options for each of your clients that you meet with.
Absolutely. And I have a dozen stories you could imagine for the last 14 years or so of helping people get their insurance with the right need, whether they had a disability, whether they had a heart condition, whether they had diabetes, they had a weight situation. Some companies would give you a standard rate with a being considered overweight, and some would give you, a very expensive rate. So it's important to get that shopped out the right way.
So you can get the standard rate and possibly get better or more coverage for the same amount of money by using a different company that you're approved with.
And companies are very hungry for premiums. They know that less than 1% of term policies result in a death claim, and they're very competitively shopping this and continuing to price these to be affordable for everybody. So
this is the Clint Womack Real Estate and Finance Show. We have our free lunch giveaway coming up after the break, and we'll continue our conversation with Jon Hatch. We are so grateful that you've tuned in. Again, we have a new time. Our new time is 10 a.m. on Saturday and Sunday mornings. Thank you so much for listening. Again, this is the Clint Womack Real Estate and Finance Show on 860 AM, Utah's Big Talker. Welcome back to the Clint Womack Real Estate and Finance Show on 860 AM, Utah's Big Talker. We've got our free lunch giveaway coming up, but we'd like to finish our conversation here with Jon Hatch. Jon, what are some of the interesting stories or memorable experiences from your profession?
Absolutely. I have to say it starts way early in life. I remember my grandmother, that was a widow in her early 50s. She married my great grandmother married my great grandfather, and he left her as a widow at 55. And I always remember thinking, well, how does grandma have so much to not have to worry about income and bills and getting a job and everything? And my dad pulled me aside one day and said, your great grandfather really securely laid the foundation to make sure that no matter what happened, she would be taken care of. And she never had to remarry. She never had to sacrifice her lifestyle. She was always on these fun cruises, and every time we went to see her, she gave us $10. She was a great grandmother. But the other story was, there was a lady in my neighborhood who I remember growing up saying, well, how come, where's her husband? Well, he died of cancer and left their little boy and her, alone, obviously because he passed away. And I always wondered, well, why didn't she have to get a job? And, how come she can stay at home and go on trips all the time? And there was that 1/3 that was laid properly. She never had to worry about financial concerns because her husband had enough life insurance to make sure that was taken care of. And so when I sold my first policy, I went to a fellow who had existing coverage with my dad, and he only had $250,000 of coverage. His mortgage was almost double that. And it was a very difficult sale. It was my first sale in the insurance business. And I remember just going to him and saying, well, I think we need at least double this to at least meet your mortgage. I told him, his coverage should be 4 times that for several reasons I don't have time to get into here, but making sure your income is protected moving forward the rest of your life, like the other 2 examples I mentioned. And I remember being at Jackson Lake, just getting off the lake water skiing. I get a phone call, and it's from his wife, and she's panicked. He had passed away. Oh, and she didn't know whether or not he did the increase, and she was worried that I only had just enough to pay the mortgage, to pay half the mortgage. And so when she found out that he actually had doubled his coverage, she was a little more relieved. But that's one of those situations where he was not willing to go much above that, but it was the reality of delivering a $500,000 check to somebody who needed it. It was tax-free. It could be put to use right away. That really got me into this business. But one of my most memorable stories, had to do with a good friend of mine I grew up with, and he came to me. I'm a type 1 insulin-dependent diabetic, and so is he. And he came up to me and said, Jon, I've looked at all these different rates. Do you know how expensive it is for us diabetics to get coverage? And I go, yeah, I'm one myself, and I have to pay through the nose. I mean, Clint, being young and healthy, you're less than $60 or $70 for your term insurance to take care of things. I'm in the $300 and $400 a month
for
range.
The same amount of coverage.
The same amount of coverage, same time frames. And he came to me and said, well, Jon, what can I do to get this done? And I had just read a book by an author named Bob Berg. It's called The Go-Giver. And in this story, he talks about, taking more or giving more in value than you take in payment, and kind of translating that into everything you can do. How can I serve more than what it is I actually receive? I went to my friend and I said, actually, the best rate for a type 1 diabetic is AAA. And it has nothing to do with me. I can't sell the policy, but I just got this done for myself because this happened to be the way to go for me. And what he did was he called them, and the rate I showed him was, let's say it was $350 a month, and he got his for around $190 a month. And he goes, well, why would you do all this work and go out of your way to make sure that, this was done right for me? And you didn't even get a penny for this. I said, well, just know that I'm glad that you're able to save money, and I know what it feels like to get a good deal as a diabetic every once in a while.
Yeah.
And it turns out that he was able to roll over, some investments that he had at former employers that wasn't getting service, wasn't getting attention on that. And he said, John, you earned my trust enough to take this account over. And it's been great. We've done very well. Last year was really good for financial advisors if you're in equities, and we had a great year.
S&P was over 30%, I think, if you take in dividends.
I mean, look at the timing of that whole deal. And Bob Berg in his book talks about things just work out if you're serving others. And, when you can take an account over at the right time and have a huge gain in a year and go back and lock in some of those gains and serve your client. I got a very happy client, and he's telling everybody he can, work with John. So.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that I've loved working with John. I've done some business with John myself, and I can see that he adds value. He takes the time to explain things to you. I love his stories, the great stories. You can see the difference between your grandma, who was just well taken care of, and then the guy who just kind of did the bare minimum and maybe didn't have as secure of a foundation as some of the other people. And John is local. He's here. If you don't have life insurance, please get in touch with John. You can call us at 801-674-9995, and we'll get you in touch with John. Or you can text the words life insurance to 801-674-9995, and we'll get you in touch with John. Such a pleasure to have you on the show. Thanks again for joining us.
Well, it's great to see you again, Clint. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, we'll have to get together soon.
Absolutely.
So we're going to go into our open house segment right now. We've got 3 open houses that we'd like to share with you today. The first open house is at 4582 West, 118th South, out in Daybreak in South Jordan.
It's my neighborhood.
That home's listed for $179,900, listed by Keller Williams. And it's open on Saturday, May 10th from 2 to 5 p.m. The next open house is at 463 East Arlo Avenue, and that's in Sandy in the Jordan Village. That home is listed for $269,900, listed by Equity Real Estate. Home is open on Saturday, May 10th from 1 to 4 p.m. Our last open house of the day is in Cottonwood Heights. Very lovely home at 6681 South Candle Cove. That home is new on the market, listed for $539,000. It is listed by looks like Coldwell Banker. And that home is open on Saturday from 1 to 4 p.m. Again, my name is Clint Womack. I'm the host of the show. I own a real estate and mortgage company, so I'm here to answer any real estate or mortgage questions that you may have. If you'd like a private showing at any of these open houses, please text the words open house to 801-674-9995 or give me a call, and I'd be happy to answer any questions that you have and get you into these homes. Now is the time for our free lunch giveaway. We've got a wonderful free lunch, and today it is all about the chicken. Chicken sandwiches, chicken nuggets, chicken wraps, and chicken salad. And don't forget those waffle fries. It's a free lunch to Chick-fil-A. Be the first to text or call in, and you'll get 2 chicken sandwich meals for our free lunch giveaway today. So text the words free lunch to 801-674-9995, or give us a call at that same number, 801-674-9995, and we'll hook you up with that free lunch to Chick-fil-A. Thank you so much for joining us today and listening in. I wanted to close on our theme today for overall wellness. We've been talking about financial wellness, spiritual wellness, mental and physical. And one of the aspects that kind of goes along the spiritual aspect is the idea of charity. Whether you're Mormon or not, no matter what religion, I think charity is such an important part of our overall financial well-being. In the Mormon Church, it's a 10% tithe, and just just being able to give, being able to think of others. And like Jon was talking about, put others' needs before yourself. This idea of giving and thinking of others and getting outside of yourself is such an important part to overall wellness. And it also helps you budget better too. If you're budgeting for 10% or if you're budgeting for charity, it helps you spend wiser and puts you in a better position overall. So the thought for the day is charity. Make it a regular thing that you do to give to others and to get outside of yourself and to have an overall balanced and overall great life. And that's what this show is all about. We're your local advocates, and we want to see you be in a better position. We want to help you succeed in all aspects of your life, not just in finance and real estate, but in your mental, physical, spiritual well-being. It's all connected, and we're here for you. If you'd like to set up a one-on-one meeting with any of our guests, please call us at 801-674-9995. We're here for you, and we want to see you succeed. This is the Clint Womack Real Estate and Finance Show on 860 AM. We've got a great show planned for you next week. Next week, we've got Will Morrison, a local bankruptcy attorney, and then Chris Walker with Alpha Graphic. He's a great expert marketer and can help any small business or big business succeed through marketing and branding. We're excited for next week's show, and we're so thankful that you've listened in. Please tell your friends about the show. We want to become a presence here, be your local advocates in the Salt Lake City market. This is the Clint Womack Real Estate and Finance Show on 860 AM, Utah's Big Talker. Please tune in next week, and we will see you then.